faces, worn out faces, ain't seen nothing yet. Punch life in the face while on my tiptoes, living on a real high from the get-go, never giving in to someone somehow now. That's why.
Crossing county lines just to make my name in the city. Took everything, put it on the line, cause I never break or back down. One shot is do or die, and the odds ain't looking too pretty. But I got the feeling it's my time. I know I'm taking it now. Blood, sweat, and tears, and I never looked for salvation. I worked for this for all these years, and I wouldn't break or back down. No. I fought through all my fears and all of my frustrations. I see the light is getting clear. I know I'm taking it now.
rated E10 for ages 10 and up.
You wanted the best, you got them for a rest. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws. World of Outlaws Dirt Racing is available now.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
My body and soul, got a heart full of gold. They can never hold me down. I keep my name on the low. How wild, my opponent been trying to chase for miles. The distance between looking like the West now. And my stamina adding up from setback, standing up. Look crazy, they see me and start pulling out their cameras. Tell them grab your pen, I'm giving lessons out. Getting bread, you won't worry about impression counts. Nah, you got a clue, ain't even a single sense about having potential and trying to pull the legend.
This is the eNASCAR College iRacing Series.
Big dreams or big profit.
The cars may be virtual, but the racing and scholarships are real.
Big dreams or big we got big plans. We got big profits. They been mad that we been got it. I turn up big dreams to a big profit. I turn up big dreams to a big profit. We got big plans. We got big profits. They been mad that we been got it. I turn up big dreams to a big profit. I turn up big dreams to a big profit.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome to iRacing's coverage of the first race in the 2023 eNASCAR College iRacing Series, powered by NASCAR League. The Logitech G120 live for the virtual Iowa Speedway in Newton, Iowa. James Pike, Kenneth Bueno, and Taylor Burris here to bring you the action from season number 2 of the eNASCAR College iRacing Series. We are back with the first eNASCAR event of 2023 and a really intriguing track to do it at here, Kenneth, in the Iowa Speedway.
It definitely is a new challenge, a brand new look here for Iowa this evening. It feels like the first day of school, guys. Back at again with the spring semester for 2023. These drivers have been qualifying over the past couple of months, and what better way to start off the semester, possibly with the checkered flag in hand, and with this new challenge in Iowa, just going to bring us, James, a whole new look to this series in this second season.
And at the end of tonight, we're giving away scholarship money as we do every night here. That's the big prize on the line for the drivers this evening, Taylor.
It really is. All these big colleges getting together to race here at Iowa Speedway. It's going to be exciting to see all these colleges represented here for the next 4 months.
Here is a look at our spring semester schedule for you. We start tonight at Iowa Speedway. We'll be at Dover Motor Speedway on February 21st. March 21st, we head to Michigan International Speedway, and then we close out the spring semester with a wild race at the World Center of Racing, Daytona International Speedway. If you saw how good that race was a year ago in this series, I expect nothing less to cap off the spring semester of the 2023 eNASCAR College iRacing Series powered by NASCAR League. Let's take a look at Iowa Speedway and get to know this facility a little bit better. Kenneth Bueno, you've got more information on the host facility for tonight's Logitech G120.
Well, James, this is the first time that Iowa Speedway ever has a race in the eNASCAR College iRacing Series powered by NASCAR League. This track located in Newton, Iowa. It's roughly 0.85 miles, 1.37 kilometers, opened back in 2006. But despite its rather young age compared to a lot of other tracks on the NASCAR calendar, it is rough. It is abrasive, and it is not afraid to show you that behind the wheel. Many different grooves are of option here as well, so keep that in mind. You have multiple lanes to choose from. That's going to provide for a fantastic stage for this evening's race.
And progressive banking in the corners. I think that may be the most distinctive feature about this Iowa Speedway outside of its 7/8 of a mile length. You get more banking as the track goes up and as you get closer to the fence. Something you'll want to keep your eyes on here as we get going. It is time to bring you the starting grid for this first event in the eNASCAR College iRacing Series for 2023. Garrett Lowe from the University of North Carolina at Charlotte starts on pole alongside Saddleback College's Logan Clampett. Matthew Morton from the Ohio State University rolls off third alongside Arizona's Parker Steele. Daniel Buttafuoco from Rutgers, who's a multi-time winner in this series, starts alongside the University of Maine at Machias' Daniel Falkenham, who starts sixth.
East Stroudsburg University represented by Anthony Troback this evening on the inside row number 7, and Rock Chalk Jayhawk Will Norton out of the University of Kansas will be on the outside. Douglas Newbigging out of King's College will be inside row number 8. P16 will go to James Scioli out of Eastern Washington University. Palm Beach State College represented by Coke Series talent for 2023 Tyler Gary, and Alex Kolonix will be Rockland Community College represented tonight at the outside row 9.
Christian Charbonneau will be representing in top 20 with, of course, none other than, moving on, we do see Andrew Pale and Michael Causey in row 11, alongside none other than Nate Stewart. In row number 12, we will see a little further on, it will be none other than Jose Solis Jr. as we continue looking for the field.
Garrett Vitton out of Arizona State starts alongside Mario Miranda, the Oklahoma Sooner. They make up row 13 and 27th. You've got Dustin Buck from Waldorf University and Zachary DeWile competing for St. Clair College. The top 30 is rounded out by Longwood's Jeremy Burns and Wingate University's Jake Cummings.
Look back to row number 16, you'll find the number 36 of Noel Fugera out of St. Francis Xavier University. Wyatt Harbert for Butler University will be on the outside. Blake Kinkinen out of University of Colorado Springs will be there on the inside row 17. Taylor Butcher Benjamin there. Penn State Mont Alto will be there on the outside. Matthew Burton out of East Tennessee State University inside row 18. Final one, inside your top 36, Dylan Hoffines out of University of St. Mary.
Francisco Villarreal, Ryan Wilson, Chris Treppa, and Liam Sheen from the University of Texas Rio Grande, Minnesota State University Mankato, Lawrence Tech, and University of Wisconsin at Stevens Point. The 40-car field this evening as we turn to our race analysis. Taylor Burris.
It is a lot of things going on here tonight. 120 laps for tonight's race of just over 100 miles. Pit road speed 40 miles with a pit lane delta of 24 to 26 seconds. So you're going to have to be quick on pit road to stay on the lead lap. And of course, the field window 60 to 65 laps, so expecting at least one step.
Our Logitech G race analysis there. You'll watch drivers work the bottom of this racetrack, the top of this racetrack. They will go everywhere in the corners, and you also have a very distinctive, almost roller coaster-like transition out of the banking onto the backstretch and then into turns 3 and 4. Kenneth Bueno makes for a very intriguing place, this Rusty Wallace design facility.
Yeah, and all the bumps as well. Also not afraid to show you that if you get a little bit too oversteppy, it's going to punish you and punish you hard. And with the fact that you do have, like you said, progressive banking, it's going to offer for some great racing. Maybe 3, maybe 4 wide. We'll see as they're ready for the green flag.
Could get wild very early as the pace car pulls off the pit road, and we are ready to begin Season 2 of the eNASCAR College iRacing Series powered by NASCAR League. Garrett Lowe leads the field to the green flag, and the season opener in 2023, the Logitech G120, is underway for the virtual Iowa Speedway. Lowe already pacing the field by about a car length over Logan Clampett. You've got one driver in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series for 2023 and one former competitor from the Coke Series in Clampett who looked to the inside, couldn't quite find the line and paced to get around Lowe just yet. But look at how many drivers are already trying to find that middle groove. It's a little less bumpy in the middle groove than it is down low. There is a little bit more speed there if you know how to work it.
It's a very unique piece of track where you're looking at some bumps on the very outside, most notably in 1 and 2, then some bumps on the inside where it could be rather hard to plant the throttle off the corner. That middle seems to be the best lane in terms of smoothness as you watch a potential battle inside your top 3. That is Parker Steele out of the University of Arizona under fire here from Daniel Falkingham, already making quick work inside the podium on his opening 3 laps. But it's very fun to watch these drivers try. I think that's what we're going to see. A lot of experimentation. James, these drivers using all 3 types of lanes, maybe even 4 or 5 types of lanes around this Iowa Speedway to see what works. And they've got a lot of time to do it as well. So why not try now?
Lots of drivers here towards the front that have experience in the Coke Series or the ladder to it, the Road to Pro, either the eNASCAR Qualifying Series or Contender Series. Daniel Botafuco was a Contender Series driver last season. You see him working for position a little bit further back. This is James Sealy from Eastern Washington, facing Michael Causey from Ole Miss. And I have to give a shout out to the powder blues there on Causey's machine. I'm a little bit partial. I do love how it looks with Ole Miss's football team. Not a surprise, Kenneth Winter, that it looks just as good on the race car.
You know, I saw you pointed out a little bit earlier before we even went live, and I took a look. It took me a little while to find them just because I was looking through the running order. I saw the colors, and I was like, yep, I know exactly what you're talking about. Beautiful scheme with the red, white, and blue. But one of the many beautiful schemes, James, that we see in a lot of the creativity here in this series with all the different types of colleges and color swatches represented. We'll see if Causey's able to move up to the field. He's in a nice battle inside the top 20. So, I mean, early on, a little bit of excitement here for Causey at the moment.
Taylor Burris, look at these front 2. They are the only 2 in your shot. They have gapped everybody else in this field by already half a second, now closing in on a full second between Clampett in second and Daniel Falkingham in third. Garrett Lowe and Logan Clampett had this place figured out early.
Well, I mean, you're talking about 2 of the biggest names in eNASCAR competition. Logan Clampett, a former series competitor, out there racing around as we see them on screen right now. And Garrett Lowe, who's already picked up a couple of great wins already in the past with the eNASCAR College Series. So we'll see these 2 do battle. The 49ers versus the Bobcats will go at it here today as they work through the middle of turn 1 and 2. I did talk to one driver before this, Nate Stewart, in the number 4 machine. He compared the tire degradation to this track as basically a puppy chewing on brand new furniture. That's how critical these tires are going to get as the run progresses.
I've never heard that analogy, Taylor Burris, but Kenneth Bueno, I love that because I think there is something to it. And you mentioned it right before we went green. This surface does have bumps. It is only a 15-year-old and change track, but there are characteristics in this pavement that can make it tricky to manage over the course of a long green flag run. It's deceptively difficult, I think.
And it's deceptively nasty as well because you can go into a corner, James, and feel like you're fine. This car is going to handle the corner. All of a sudden, you hit a bump, most notably outside turn 1 and 2. It's one of the worst bumps on this racetrack, and your car is going to go shooting up the track, up the hill, and who knows if there's a car on the outside or on the inside or around you in any sort of case. So you do have to watch that. And like you talked about, old tires, that's also going to be big. Once this car starts to lose grip, you kick out that rear end, or if you wear out the right front a little more, those bumps are only going to either drive you up the hill or lift off that rear end. A little bit of contact near the middle of the field. I saw Tyler Gary at a Palm Beach State College get into contact with the 24 of Christian Charbonneau. A little bit of touching there at the entrance of turn 1. And guess who's behind this, James Pike? Michael Causey in the 29, who we just talked about.
Causey is there, as is Charbonneau, representing Dallas Baptist University. First time we've seen them in the eNASCAR College iRacing Series here on iRacing's channels. And usually a baseball school, but Taylor Burris, glad to have them in for the very first time in this program, and glad to see Charbonneau making laps and trying to make that high lane work on a Coke Series driver, no less than Tyler Garrett.
Yeah, Charbonneau really been putting on a great drive all race long, staying inside that top 15 as he works his through. But Tyler Gary also in the eNASCAR Coke Series representing Tony Kanaan Esports for 2023. Really great run to see what he can do and representing his team as he works through the field.
So we go on board with Tyler Gary to the right on your screens is a look at the prizes on offer. You win tonight, you get $3,500 in scholarships, all the way down to $250 for the 10th. So all the top 10 will go home with scholarship money, $15,000 that go out every single round, and $60,000 that we will be giving away over the course of the spring semester, as I think Michael Causey may have caught the fence on the front stretch ever so slightly there that last time by, but he keeps on rolling on the high side, trying to work that lane and make his way around Charbonneau to take over what would be the 17th position.
He's working that high groove, and we're seeing a lot of defense being played and some offense, most notably out of that final corner. You look up ahead the road, that is Will Norton in the number 25 out of the University of Kansas. He's looking to the inside here of Andrew Powell. Actually gained a couple of spots, gained one on Tyler Gary that last lap by, and Powell out of the Grand Canyon University is going to almost lap the outside wall. The Chandler, Arizona native in a little bit of trouble. When you talked about James Pike and Michael Causey potentially hitting the wall on the front straightaway, that was almost a tank slap at the exit of turn 2. He'll drop back to P18.
There is so much commotion just a few cars back. I saw Andrew Powell nearly fishtailing it out of corner number 4 just behind this group, and there was almost an issue between Causey and Charbonneau. They were all over the place. Dare I say, Taylor Burris, are we seeing drivers already fighting grip issues a mere 16 laps into this Logitech G120?
I mean, we're already looking at the lap times already falling off by about a second just after this 17-lap run. So, yeah, we're seeing it fall big time here, and it's going to continue to do so as we ride on board with the 71 of Douglas Newbigging, who is currently working his way through, representing the Knights as he tries to work his way through with the King's College, and to the inside of Andrew Paul, but you got to be careful with that turn 4. Very easy to step out on you as you try to survive.
Good look here at what Newbigging is seeing. He's just behind this battle pack that we have kept our eyes fixated on for the last few laps or so, because there's been so much happening right around this 20th position. Meanwhile, Logan Clampett and Garrett Lowe continuing to do battle at the front of this field and following the patterns that they set early. I've seen this consistently throughout the opening stint of this Logitech G120. Lowe is not afraid to try the middle groove, almost the third groove if he wants to at points. Logan Clampett, on the other hand, Kenneth Bueno, has been very committed to the bottom. As we remind you that if you want more updates from the world of eNASCAR, you can pull out your device and take a picture of the QR code on the right-hand side of your screens and sign up for more information today, courtesy of iRacing, the official simulation partner of NASCAR. So, KB, I'm curious to see, and I'm not necessarily certain whether or not Lowe is trying to search for the right line or whether or not he's just sort of testing things to see how they work against Clampett, but these two clearly have a handle on this, and it's almost like they're in their own little battle, their own little world to try and figure out which lane works best and which lane is fastest, especially over the course of a green flag run.
I think Garrett Lowe has found some comfortability there, James, in that third lane, because he's been not afraid to try it, and you know, maybe a couple of laps you experiment with it, you see works, and if it doesn't, you're probably going to go back to the inside or the middle, try something different. But Lowe has been consistent up at the very top. He's been just maintaining that third lane, 3 and 4. It's rather smooth up there. You can get a really good run off of the final corner for the trial front straightaway. So, I mean, I think Garrett Lowe definitely loves this outside line, and I know some other drivers liking the outside line here on top of Tyler Gary. This is Will Norton, the 25 driver we talked about earlier. The lead, Tyler Gary under fire from Michael Causey. Actually, never mind, that is Anthony Troback right in front of them. So a side-by-side battle inside your top 14 or so.
Still all over each other, and no one's really been able to get away. If anything, it's Jack Coyne who's been able to sneak away from all of this. Out of the Minnesota Polytechnic Institute, he rides in 12th, and he's really the first one that's not in the middle of this, but you can run this back from Stroback all the way to, I would say, about Douglas Newbigging. Everybody in those 7 or 8 positions, their spot is very much up for grabs at the moment, Taylor.
It really is. A lot of drivers just trying to find the absolute grip that they need in order to progress through this run. We're about a third of the way through that first set of fuel run here, to where drivers are going to start thinking about what to do as far as with fuel conservation. As we pick up the battle for 6th, we see former eNASCAR driver Anthony Burrows leading the charge right now in that number 62 machine. Anthony's really having a great run currently from the St. Charles Community College, home of the Cougars, as he works his way through. As he works on Austin Farr, a good run for him as he's had a quiet. And then, of course, we see the Buckeye native of Morton holding strong in the 8th spot.
Matthew Morton sporting a new number this season in the eNASCAR College iRacing Series. He wanted to be a little bit more in line with the O that you see so prominently at The Ohio State University. So it would make sense then, Kenneth Bueno, that he jumped to the number 0 for 2023.
Yeah, O's all around. I feel like as soon as that number opened up, he was like, yes, I want it. I want it now. I need to be consistent. It could just be like a big ooh across the side in the front of the race car. But so far, Morton doing a good job holding off 18, Matthew Zwack out of University of Michigan, Ann Arbor. These drivers, of course, in somewhat of a battle, but all single file. And if there's one thing that I've noticed, James, is that this competition around the midfield is so tight. You see one driver make a slight mistake, they grab a little bit loose on the race car. You see maybe 3, 4, 5 drivers pounce, and a caution will wave for the first time tonight. We'll see exactly who might have been involved. We'll confirm for you. There's a couple of drivers sideways. I think Dustin Buck in the 68, the driver out of Waldorf University, towed on a pit road and heavy front-end damage.
Douglas Buck, indeed, one of the ones in trouble. I believe Noel Fougere was the other one that got collected in the incident that has brought out our first caution in the Logitech G120 on this early stage of the race. Currently working lap 28 of 120, but the yellow flag out for the first time. And Taylor Burris, I suspect we will see everyone come down for tires.
Yeah, everyone's going to be coming down for tires to get a fresh set of stickers on, try to see what they can do. Of course, one of the things that we saw with the drivers battling for the race lead of Garrett Lowe and Logan Clampett is they were really battling each other, but yet still were able to conserve their tires in order to pull away from the field. Before that caution, they were over a 2-second margin, and it was exciting to watch. Now, what can Daniel Falkingham do and Daniel Buttafuoco see what they can do in this stage of the run, what adjustments they can make in order to try to keep pace with your top two.
As the cars come down pit road, we'll take a look at the replay and see what happened between Fougere and Dustin Buck to bring out the caution. You see that big circle on your screens points out the incident. It looks like Buck just managed to clip the wall, and then a heavy hit there. And one other car that I couldn't tell immediately got a little bit of damage in that as well, KB.
Yeah, huge wreck and a pile up there in turn 3. And we talk about, James, the mistakes that you can make, have a bunch of drivers pounce on you. That's exactly what I noticed, but at this time, just not enough space for the drivers behind it. It looked like Noel Fougere in the number 36 and got into trouble. The 68 of Buck got into him, and then at that point, they're both passengers, nowhere to go. Meanwhile, you watch the battle off of pit road. Looks like no change, James, inside the top 3. Lowe, Clampett, and Falkingham all consistent in the front of the field.
Can also update you and tell you that it was Matthew Burton out of East Tennessee State University, the Buccaneer, that got caught up in that incident. He was the third car involved with Fougere and Buck and got a significant amount of damage to the left front of his machine. So he, with a lot of work to do now to get back up towards the front, but for the most part, not too much change in position, Taylor, amongst the front of the field. The driver that's made the hardest charge, probably Austin Farr, I think, out of the top 10. He's up 3 spots from where he started, as we remind you that the World of Outlaws dirt racing game is available now for Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and Series S, PlayStation 4, and PlayStation 5. You can find that at all of the retailers that you'll be able to find when you log on to worldofoutlaws.game.com. That is available now, and a tremendous amount of fun, whether or not you're driving a sprint car, a late model, a street stock, downloadable tracks as well. Lots and lots and lots of great things to come if you've had the chance to sit down with World of Outlaws Dirt Racing. Closing in on 1 to go before we go back to green flag in the Logitech G120. opportunity for us to get going here in the eNASCAR College iRacing Series, but it's not the only series that you'll see on iRacing's channels that is starting up soon, because the Premier Road Racing Championship, the Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Super Cup, returns for 2023 on Saturday, February 4th. They head to the venerable Hockenheimring in Baden-Württemberg, running the Grand Prix circuit for race number 1 of their season, and you will be able to see that on iRacing's Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube channels. The best road racers will take to the famed German road course to battle out first bragging rights of their campaign. Garrett Lowe and Logan Clampett, your leaders as we get back to Green Flag Racing, and as these drive crews return to full song, we will go iRacing full throttle and present the sounds of the eNASCAR College iRacing Series powered by Daystar League at the virtual Iowa Speedway. Matthew Burton in trouble, Ryan Wilson as well. Those two caught up at an incident on the back straightaway to bring out our second yellow flag of the evening. And just as quickly as we were getting ready to go back for it, Taylorverse, we're back into the yellow flag once again.
We most certainly are, and it was just a tough break for both Burton as well as we saw the incident happening. The number 2 of Ryan Wilson also, as we take a look at the replay, we're going to take a look at that outside line between these two drivers as they come off of turn number 2. How about this? 4 wide, a little further behind them, but as they work their way through, there you see Burton in that number 33 trying to work the outside lane, but could not. Tried to come down a little bit, mixed contact with the 2 machine of Ryan Wilson, sending them both down to the inside of the racetrack. And Burton has to go backwards, reverse to it, goes a little bit around, and will continue on his way. But I think the worst one was Ryan Wilson getting most of the significant damage to the nose of that Chevrolet.
Kenneth Bueno, Matthew Morton is one very lucky Buckeye, because they were coming right for his right rear quarter panel, and he just managed to escape that incident. Had trouble on pit road on that first round of pit stops a few laps ago. We've got some drivers towards the back of the field coming in, and this may introduce a slight strategy element in, but we'll see how things pan out. We will quickly step aside and be back with more coverage from the Logitech G120 and the eNASCAR College iRacing Series in just a few moments here on iRacing's channels.
It's been about 10 years since the last World of Outlaws sprint car game, and I'm so excited we're finally back.
I remember the first time I saw myself in a video game. Couldn't believe it.
I'm so excited to be in this video game. I've been dreaming about this since I was a kid.
I played all the racing games growing up, but with iRacing's involvement, it's going to be even more realistic.
You think you can beat me? Let's find out September 27th. We'll see you on the track.
World of Outlaws Dirt Racing is available now.
Tonight's broadcast of the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official fan refreshment of eNASCAR. By Logitech G. Through design, engineering, and a love of driving games, Logitech G takes racing simulation to another level. Logitech G, the official wheel and pedals of the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. By SCW. Whether you're looking to outfit the office or race like the pros, SCW is where America gets IT. Shop now at scw.com. by Placey, the official racing chair of eNASCAR, and by Xfinity. Get the reliable connection you need to keep up with the race from start to finish. Unbeatable internet, made to do anything so you can do anything. Xfinity, proud premier partner of NASCAR. Welcome back to coverage of the Logitech G120 season opener for the 2023 eNASCAR College iRacing Series powered by NASCAR League. James Pike, Kenneth Bueno, and Taylor Burris here to bring you all the action from the virtual Iowa Speedway in Newton, Iowa. We are coming to a restart that will take place on lap 38. We get set to go racing here in just a few moments and back to green flag action, and we will see, Kenneth Bueno, whether or not the drivers from third on back have anything for Garrett Lowe and Logan Clampett, who jumped out to a huge lead at the beginning, but also wouldn't be surprised if some of the drivers in the top 5, the top 10 may have been saving their equipment and waiting to make the charge until we get closer to the checkered flag.
And this is probably going to be the best opportunity here, James. You've had a couple of cautions. The field is all close and bunched up together. If you're Daniel Budafoco, you're Daniel Falkingham. A pair of Daniels, by the way, in row number 2. Both of them can take charge on Lowe and Clampett, who have been the dominating force, have had a stranglehold on the field all night long. This is their chance to shine.
Here's the onboard from Daniel Falkingham as we go back to green flag racing. Good restart from Garrett Lowe. Logan Clampett slipped the tires in the rear of his car just a little bit. That gives Daniel Budafoco the opportunity to go down to the inside, and he may drive it in deep enough to take away second from Logan Clampett. May go for the race lead here on Garrett Lowe.
We've seen Daniel Budafoco put on some stellar drives last year in 2022, but the Scarlet Knight himself from Rutgers University will try to see what he can do against Garrett Lowe, but here comes the outside lane. Momentum on the side of Logan Clampett as he will maintain second.
And we're seeing the power of that outside lane as well, Kenneth Bueno. It took about a lap for it to come in, but Lowe's already picked up a car length. There goes Logan Clampett down to the inside. Daniel Falkingham is beginning to get to the outside as you go on board a little bit further back with Matthew Zwack just behind Tyler Gary representing the Michigan Wolverines. Good look at how the top 10 is shaking out, but everybody going up towards the wall very quickly. That middle groove has pace early in the run.
And especially in turns 3 and 4, James, they're seeing that very outside be so quick. Garrett Lowe's been using it almost all night long. This time, go to the inside. Looks like he'll block a potential run here by Logan Clampett in the 44. I think everybody probably used it on the restart just to clear themselves. And some of them still using it on the battle for position you maintain on board with the number 18 of Matthew Zwack still working the way through the field. But by the way, James, it is so tough to play defense when you're on that very bottom, because when you're at the top in 3 and 4, you can get a huge run off the corner, and it's tough to make a pass there.
You can roll momentum so easily on that high line. We go to Wyatt Harvey out of Indianapolis, Indiana. 26th on the board, but also competing for a school that has an alumnus amongst the iRacing production team. This is our nightly shout-out on the College Series to Cisco Scaramuza, who is a Butler Bulldog and is very well-versed with the Butler War cry. And some dog named Blue, who I think is kind of famous. KB, perhaps?
Yeah, possibly.
Likes basketball, I heard. Has a kind of old house, but pretty big basketball guy. If we're talking basketball, I think if you're remiss, I know you dropped it earlier, KB. Rock Chalk, Jayhawk, Will Norton up here. I guess we won't mention what happened in the Octagon last week. It wasn't exactly a fun time for them, but he's in a big battle, as are our 2 cars for the race lead. Garrett Lowe, Logan Clampett, yet again stretching it out, and maybe not a huge surprise to see Daniel Falkingham in third, given that Falkingham is now a driver in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. He will be competing for Joe Gibbs Racing in the 2023 season, and that's a difference from last year. He was just a College Series driver a year ago, but worked his way through the eNASCAR Road to Pro, through the qualifying series and the contender series, and now has that accolade to his name and maybe a little bit bigger target on his back this season in the College Series. Taylor Burris.
He certainly does. I mean, thinking about this is one of the veterans of iRacing as well. He's been on the service for 6 years already, collected over 450 wins on the iRacing service. He's definitely been a driver to be a force to be reckoned with, and he feels confident that him and Joe Gibbs Racing can have put a great start for them for the 2023 campaign. But he's being consistent right now for the moment, staying inside the top 3, going up against some of the best here with Garrett Lowe and Logan Clampett. So really good run for him so far, and he's running around the same consistent lap times as your top two.
I think it's fitting there, Kenneth Bueno, that you look at the top 5 and all of them have experience competing in eNASCAR on some level, whether or not it's the Coke Series or the College Series or the Qualifying Series or the Contender Series. All of the top 5, Lowe, Clampett, Buckingham, Buttafuoco, and Anthony Burroughs have competed at the highest levels of eNASCAR, and the experience is paying off.
It just shows you, James Pike, that the cream will always rise to the top. No matter what type of stage you put them on, what type of car you make them drive, they will show their talent, and they won't be afraid to do so. And that's why we're seeing this top 5 occupied by this level of talent. You also have to mention as well, apart from just normal eNASCAR competition, a lot of these guys race each other on official challenge series on iRacing as well, so keep that in mind.
Lots of official racing that day, too, as we see this battle up for P1, P2. Here are some drivers that are using virtual reality headsets. You can race with a traditional monitor. You can race with a VR headset. Michael Causey representing the Rebels of Ole Miss out of Jackson, Mississippi. You can see that on the lower right-hand portion of your screen. He's got a VR headset, so you can actually turn your head and look around in the car. Really cool technology if you get the chance to use it. You don't have to have it, but it definitely can make things a little bit easier, especially if you're trying to see who's to your left, who's to your right. Get a little bit better sense of where you are in terms of spacing and all that sort of stuff if you're racing in close battles like this. Here's Anthony Stroback out of Effort, Pennsylvania. Yellow flag comes out once again. I believe Francisco Villarreal might be part of the incident. We'll see if we can't dig out the answer for you momentarily. But an incident for Villarreal that brings out our third yellow flag of the evening.
It looks like there might have been a crash right in front of him. A driver hit the outside wall. I believe that might have been Chris Trepper, who actually got some help at the exit of turn 4 by the number 24 machine of Christian Charbonneau. So it looks like them both making some slight contact going up the hill, and then Villarreal on the backside of this just gets caught up at the worst end, and they just stack up on the front straightaway.
It's a tricky one here. We'll get the replays momentarily to show you everything that happened, but yes, Villarreal, I believe, may have picked up the worst of that. We'll see if anyone else ends up stuck for a little bit, but certainly a night gone south very quickly for Villarreal, who represents the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley this evening. Here's your replay to show you what happened in KB. Why don't you come back and take us through it once again and tell us everything that happened. Circle on where this incident starts over in the middle of 3 and 4.
It just looks like a simple wash-up out of the 4th corner of the 50th. Trump, I think, slows down as he's approaching the outside wall, and the 24 of Charbonneau, the driver out of Dallas Baptist University, just makes that slight contact. But James, when you're with an entire pack of cars, slight contact is almost inevitably going to mean a wreck, and Treppa, who locked the brakes sideways, just gets pummeled by Villarreal and a couple of other drivers in it as well. Andrew Powell in the 11. I believe Ryan Wilson in the 2 might have been on the backside of this as well. So just a large stack up there, and many drivers on the rear end of the pack severely torn up.
That, to me, had the look of, especially in Treppa's case, and I've seen it a few times in races I've done here at Iowa, of a driver recognizing that he's going too fast, he's too tight, he's going to run into the wall if he doesn't lift. And then Treppa tried to lift, and I don't think that Charbonneau was ready for it and just couldn't react in time. And then all of a sudden, there you are, Taylor Burris. You've got 4 or 5 cars immediately piled up because everybody's trying to swing towards the fence, and there's not really anywhere you can go.
Yeah, we're seeing all that happening here as we're riding on board now with Gastonia's North Carolina's very own Garrett Lowe, of course, for the University of North Carolina, Charlotte. As we are here with Garrett Lowe. Garrett, walk us through a little bit of how things are going for you out there on the track. A lot of difficult things going on with the tire wear, but you and Logan Clampett putting on a definite show here tonight.
Yeah, me and Logan are kind of, I think we got out there probably a good ways on that first run, so that was pretty good. Yeah, so far I'm just trying different things here, just trying to figure out what's working best. So about halfway, just trying to, keep the notebook in check, and then figure out what I need to do when we get a late race yellow, because I'm sure we'll have one of them for sure.
Well, of course, the big thing everyone's looking forward to is the Clash happening next week. How excited are you? A lot of things going on. New team for you as well. What can we expect to see there on Tuesday, January the 31st?
Yeah, excited to get back in the swing of things for the Coca-Cola series and the Clash kicking off our season unofficially. That'll be fun. Always a good short track event where we can kind of nudge and use the bumper a little bit. So that'll be fun.
It certainly is. Well, of course, final thoughts here. We're getting ready to see you run the outside lane once again. I mean, you're one of the only few drivers running that outside lane. How different is it compared to the rest of the field who's stuck to the bottom pretty much, especially in turn 3 and 4?
Yeah, it takes a different approach, which I think not many people have run Iowa back in the day when it was top lane dominant. So I'm getting a kick out of running it. It's pretty fun up there, but obviously no one else is up there. So we'll see if that works out for me on the long run.
Well, Garrett, good luck to you, as we'll see if you and the 49ers can pull off another win in the eNASCAR College Series.
Garrett Lowe representing the University of North Carolina at Charlotte. The 49ers, the green and gold that is very, very popular in the Charlotte area. Lots of places that UNCC touches and lots of support for Niner Nation around its home city. And Will Norton here, who I believe took 2 tires and is the leader coming to the restart, as we remind you that the clash at the Los Angeles Coliseum, the 2023 eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series drivers get their first opportunity to take to the track on Tuesday, January 31st, 2023. You can see that broadcast on iRacing's Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook, and eNASCAR.com/live. Mark your calendars. You'll find out who is signed with what team and what changes are amongst the roster for 2023. We'll introduce you to the rookies of the series and begin to tell the tales of some drivers that be hanging it up at the end of the season. Lots to cover when the clash rolls around at Tuesday, January 31st on iRacing's Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and eNASCAR.com/live. Will Norton took 2 tires. He is your leader as we go back to green flag racing, and that gain of 13 spots from where he started, but a big battle just behind them. Look at Parker Steele representing the University of Arizona. Go to the inside, and he gets into Jose Solis Jr., and he makes contact with Daniel Falkingham, and the yellow flag comes out once again. That was an immediate chain reaction. Everybody just trying to gain positions. Bueno, I think you talked about it a little bit, trying to get as much as you can on the restart. We saw it right there in front of our eyes with Parker Steele, and he just overdrove it a little bit going into turn 1 and managed to collect Jose Solis Jr. and Daniel Falkingham.
Just might have, James, been the first restart all night long that we see that amount of desperation to go 3 wide, 4 position, and Steele, of course, had the space to make the move happen, just got a little bit too wide entering the corner, and as the 75 was down low, they both merged in the same real estate. Solis almost saved it, by the way, but then traveled up the track into Falkingham, and that's a huge hit, James, for Falkingham on the 39, because he had been running in the top 5 for a majority of this race and was starting to gain a lot more traction on Garrett Lowe and Logan Clampett, now in trouble at lap 57.
You feel for Falkingham. He was a completely innocent bystander in that. There was nothing he could have done. As you see, Steele here on the inside gets into Solos, who washes up the racetrack and then catches Falkingham, and Falkingham backs it up into the outside wall, damage to the left front of his machine, and nothing he could have done about that at all. And that now turns what had been a top 5 run for Falkingham into a very tough road to try and get any of the top 10 positions in the scholarship money that comes with it.
It certainly is, but it does benefit Will Norton quite a bit, because now he still gets to be out in front of the field and has to get a chance to get a better jump on the restart, because we saw that here with a lot of action going on. We'll keep an eye and see if he's able to hold on.
While we are under the yellow flag once again, we will take another break and be back in just a few with more coverage of the Logitech G120 for the eNASCAR College iRacing Series, powered by NASCAR League from the virtual Iowa Speedway.
It's been about 10 years since the last World of Outlaws sprint car game, and I'm so excited we're finally back.
I remember the first time I saw myself in a video game. couldn't believe it.
I'm so excited to be in this video game. I've been dreaming about this since I was a kid.
I played all the racing games growing up, but with iRacing's involvement, it's going to be even more realistic.
You think you can beat me? Let's find out September 27th. We'll see you on the track.
World of Outlaws Dirt Racing is available now.
Welcome back to iRacing's coverage of the first race in 2023 for the eNASCAR College iRacing Series powered by NASCAR League, the Logitech G120 from the virtual Iowa Speedway in Newton, Iowa. James White, Kenneth Bueno, and Taylor Burris here to bring you all the action from Newton, Iowa. We now turn our attention to Kenneth Bueno, who is caught up with one Daniel Falkingham.
Here with the driver of the 39 and Daniel Falkingham. And Daniel, I know you really didn't have a lot of vision as to what happened on that caution turn one, but just give us your perspective on what happened there.
Jose just got sent by the looks of things, and of course that was the unfortunate one to get hit. So that's not what we're looking for right now, but thankfully it's only halfway, and I got my car all repaired. So we'll see if we can get our way back to the field. Just a very unfortunate incident, but we got plenty of time left, so we'll see if we can get back up there.
You mentioned plenty of time, at least one half of this race left to go. You've got a very fast race car, so is there any method to the madness, any blueprint you've got to get back to the top five?
Just try to stay out of any more bull crap and stuff, and hopefully, maybe if cars fall our way, we can pull some strategy, because I know like this field is pretty even, so it's going to be definitely really hard to get back up through there. So we're going to try our best. We are going to be fighting to the end, that's for sure.
Well, we certainly appreciate the time, Daniel. Best of luck out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Daniel Falkingham going to try and make a very big charge back to the front, representing the University of Maine at Machias, and also racing in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series for 2023 as Will Norton took 2 tires off a yellow flag a few laps ago and has the track position. Can he hang on, though, as we go back to green flag racing in the Logitech G120? Notice he immediately jumps to the outside. I think he may try and block one of Clampett or Lowe or both or everybody else from the high line.
He's going to try to do that here as he runs up to the top side of the racetrack, 3 wide, a little bit further back as they make the run down into turn 3, but he'll stick to the bottom. You got to be careful, though, in early stages. That car can get easily tight, and you'll be right up against the wall, causing yourself a lot of harm there, so you have to be careful. But Will Norton, very well-respected driver on the iRacing community. He's been around for quite some time as we see him competing his way through, as the Jayhawk with 171 wins tries to see what he can do. But here comes Garrett Lowe to the bottom.
Trouble on the racetrack. Turn 2, I believe, is the answer, and Christian Charbonneau, I think, is in the heart of it once again, as trouble has brought the yellow flag out at Iowa one more time, and we reset, and this is only a net positive for Will Norton, Kenneth. If you look at the strategy he pulled, the less laps you have to run under green, the less worn out your tires are, the more you get to hang on to track position. And given how tight Garrett Lowe was on his rear bumper, if you're Will Norton, you're not necessarily, bringing out all the party streamers and whatnot at this point, but you're certainly happy with the way this is playing out.
Yeah, you like the way that the field behind you on 4 fresh tires is equalizing with you on 2 new tires. So Norton is definitely happy to see all these yellows come out, at least in succession. He's able to hold out the lead and at least lead a couple of more laps. And also, if we continue to get more, opportunity for him to be on even playing field if they come down one more time. And James will see exactly what happened on the replay, but it looked like there's a lot of space here at Iowa, James, but it runs out at some point, 4 wide in turns 1 and 2.
It got really wide. I had seen this just out of the corner of my eye, and they were all over each other as they all got together over in 1 and 2. Wyatt Harvey and Christian Charbonneau and everybody in trouble. And yeah, 4 wide usually does not work here at Iowa, and Charbonneau, Taylor Burris, was the one who got the worst end of it. But I guess if you're looking for a positive, he didn't pick up any extra damage off that spin.
No, he certainly was not here, but I do got to say, for the Butler native, he was fighting like a bulldog for sure out there, trying to keep that on the track and continue on with his battle for his position.
Burris, it's my job to make the terrible jokes, I thought.
Hey, I got to throw one in every so often.
Are we going to throw you a bone too, I suppose?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I'm not going to beg for it. Let's just say
bad
that.
jokes. I need to be up next on this one. I want a piece of this.
I'll have to figure out how to get Sebastian the Ibis, or I don't know. Does the FIU Panther have a nickname, Kenneth? Would you be so kind as to clue us in?
It has the name Rory, so that's all we got. I mean, you could say that they're roaring down the track, but like, I mean, there's no one here from FIU, unfortunately. I mean, we did have one last semester, but I mean, maybe it'll take a little more for me to have a Rory reference, but we'll see.
We'll see, and that's an interesting facet of this eNASCAR College iRacing Series that we haven't had the chance to talk about, that the roster for each race changes because it's based upon a time attack. These drivers jump into iRacing within a range usually about a week or two before these races, and they get the chance to set a fast lap. And the 40 fastest laps amongst eligible drivers then get the opportunity to compete in this top split of the eNASCAR College iRacing Series. There's also a B main per se as well for the drivers who were 41st through 80th in terms of speed. So just because we don't have an FIU driver or a Miami driver or I guess in my case a Wake Forest driver in this race this week, that's not to say that we might not have one when we get to Dover in February or Michigan in March or Daytona at the end of April to round out the spring semester.
Yeah, it really is, and it's great to see all these colleges coming out here, coming together to race here, and we really get a chance to even see some colleges that maybe are not well represented in other forms of sport, but they are represented well here in the esports world.
Let's take an opportunity to talk to another driver who will be competing for the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series Championship for the first time in 2023's in our College Series race tonight. Tyler Gary is with Taylor Burris.
Here with Tyler Gary. Tyler, a really great run for you so far. Been staying inside the top 10, top 15 for a majority of the race. What's the handling like being in the middle of the pack compared to some of our leaders who are running up towards the front in the clean air?
It's pretty chaotic. A lot of these guys are just full sending it every chance to get, trying to take every ounce of space that is given to them, which is understandable because there's a lot on the line. But it's pretty chaotic. I wish I qualified a little bit better so I could be up in the clean air with some of these other guys. But, oh well.
Well, of course, the big news we have to talk about is you are going to be a competitor in the 2023 eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series, and of course, driving for one of the brand new teams, Tony Kanaan Esports. We talked a little bit about that, and what's your thought racing for Tony Kanaan?
I'm very excited about it. It's not often that you get a speak to someone with that caliber of like how Tony is in the cars, and to be able to drive it for him is pretty neat.
And of course, you'll be heading off to kick off the Clash at the Coliseum on January 31st. Have you done a little bit of testing in preparation for this race?
Not yet, but I plan to soon.
Well, we'll let you get at it. Good luck to you here. That's Tyler Gary, who's currently in the number 26 in 11th position.
Just outside the top 10, right on the edge of the final position, paying out scholarship money tonight. And look at that. He's immediately trying to solve it as we go back to green. 3 wide here to go after Jose Solis Jr., Daniel Botafuco, lots of company around him. Anthony Burrows out of St. Charles Community College as they all begin to work their way back up towards the high side. As we've seen on these restarts consistently, everybody gets towards the wall very quickly because Kenneth Bueno, right off the drop of the green flag, that's where the speed is.
And you can also tell a change in desperation. Drivers are more desperate to gain track position fresh off the restarts as we've approached this final half of the race. There was a bit of contact there between Parker Steele and Garrett Lowe. Almost completed a huge crash on the front straightaway. Luckily, they all kept it together. You see a lot more drivers trying more daring moves, being a little more comfortable with taking it 3 or 4 wide for position.
Lots of action in the top 5. I saw Parker Steele get into another car coming out of turn 4 just a few moments ago. You can see now we're closing in on the checkered flag. Under 50 laps to go. Intensity beginning to ramp up, and drivers who need to gain positions in order to have a shot at one of the 10 scholarship paying positions. If you're anywhere outside the top 10, now is go time. If you're in the top 10, you want to win a little bit more money, because the more you can spend on scholarship money, the more you can spend on laptops, books, tuition, food from the dining hall, things that are big expenses if you're a college kid. Taylor Burris, we were all there once upon a time, right?
Not me. But hey, Jack Coyne, though, is definitely going to be one of those drivers who tries to hold on 3 wide a little bit further back.
Look at this battle here. Everybody fighting for position. This is his 11th. Matthew Swack, Jose Solis Jr., Douglas Newbigging, and Nate Stewart on the inside fighting for position as they are 3 wide in the middle of turns 1 and 2. Just trying to figure out who wants to go to 2, who decides to maybe fall back a little bit, who really wants the track position. And not a surprise to see Nate Stewart in particular make another charge. He's got a habit in these eNASCAR College iRacing Series events of making his way towards the top 10 at the end of these races and finding positions right at the edge of payout. Kenneth Bueno going to try and do that again here at Iowa tonight.
And those races that I noticed immediately, as soon as you mentioned that, Charlotte Roval, Homestead, Miami in the fall semester, where Nate Stewart just all of a sudden comes out of nowhere, finds all this speed near the end, and partakes in great battles, but just saw the 99 of Nicholas Short right in front of him, the driver out of Folsom Lake College, smack the outside wall, heading for the front straightaway. But you're right, Nate Stewart has been able to find pace in the second half of these races, so you've got to keep an eye on that number 4 because he's been able to be consistent, save his stuff near the end on long runs, and then ends up in these fantastic runs for the top 10, and that's scholarship money.
Also had a really cool announcement earlier today. Taylor Burris announced that he is racing for Rise Esports in the eNASCAR College iRacing Series, the first Coke team to officially jump in and participate in this series. And really cool to see some of the Coke Series teams starting to expand into other series of eNASCAR.
It really is. I mean, we start to see that. Whoa, big slide right there by the number 23 of Anthony Chorbach as he tries to hold on, does a great job of saving that car. But as you said, Rise Esports making a very big step in an amazing opportunity with the College Series as they try to expand upon the world of eNASCAR competition.
It is still wild here. Look at all of this. This is crazy.
Oh, trouble.
Here. I would not want to be back here in any way, shape, or form. Yellow flag is out. Big trouble further back. And yeah, that, Kenneth Bueno, that had the look of something that was getting ready to turn into an accident for about the last 5 laps or so. And it looks like the powder keg finally ignited. And we ended up with a pretty big wreck in 3 and 4.
Yeah, it was a huge chain reaction, James, that started all of this. I mean, you were right. Once you saw these drivers getting very aggressive, somebody was going to make a mistake, something was going to happen, and we're going to end up, unfortunately, with a caution inside 43 laps to go. It was a battle between Liam Sheen and Anthony Trovac. Remember, Burris mentioned about a lap ago, Trovac in the 23 went for a huge slide, saved the race car. Sheen was going for the inside. They about made contact and checked up the 16 of Chris Fritz. Then got James Scioli, then got Michael Causey, then got Daniel Falkingham, and then just brought a bunch of drivers in the mess. As we see drivers in the front, James, heading for pit road. This is a good sign for Norton. Gambled on 2 tires, and it's worked.
Really did pay off for Will Norton. He'll get the opportunity to come in and pit and get back on cycle with everybody else. Here's where this incident starts. Contact a little bit further back, and Michael Causey just drives down into Dylan Huffines. And he was trying to get underneath all the drivers that had clipped the wall in the backstretch and gained a few positions and just did not realize that Huffines was immediately underneath him. And then all of a sudden, 3, 4, 5 cars are spinning in turn 3, Taylor.
Yeah, a tough break for Huffines. Of course, a third-generation late model driver out of Washington. Definitely a tough break for him. He's got to see what he can try to accomplish, even with a little bit of that damage. But I have a confidence that Huffines, of course, from the University of St. Mary, home of the Dragons, will try to work his way through.
Also of note here, so Will Norton maintains the race lead. A lot of drivers took 2 tires on this stop, and one driver decided to just stay out entirely, Jose Solis Jr., who I think, especially after getting involved in the incident a few yellows ago with Parker Steele, decided that he didn't want to be in the middle of the battle, even amongst the top 5, that he'd rather have the track position, and if the tires burn off, so be it. But we've had so many yellow flags here, Kenneth Bueno, that for tires that are 28 laps old, they won't have as much wear, I think, as you would have if you were running 28 straight green flag laps.
Yeah, it happens the case for Jose Solis Jr. I guess it's just a case for being out front, being in some clean air, leading some laps, but the biggest concern is definitely going to be the tires. The entire field now 27, 28 laps better than the 75. Solis is gambling, maybe hoping, James, for a lot of quick yellows like we saw with Will Norton. It worked out for him, so Solis maybe just thinking he can bank on the same strategy. And the biggest problem, though, I think is going to be exit turn 2. Once the entire field on fresh tires gets to that back bumper of the 75, it may just be over for Solis's chance at the front.
I think the key for Solis, and we saw it a little bit with Norton, is that you have to be prepared to defend the high side, and you have to at least stay alongside drivers if they get underneath you. If you run that high lane, you take away a driver's ability to properly unwind and gain momentum on corner exit and draw even or past you in certain cases. That's where a lot of the passes have been happening tonight in Iowa because, again, we have progressive banking here. It's a little bit easier to carry speed on the high line than it is on the low line. And if you can stay up top and defend that high line, I think you have the ability to at least hold everybody up. It's difficult to make the pass on the bottom unless you have significantly fresher tires than the driver who's trying to defend, Taylor.
It really is, and that's where you have to try to be careful of your tire management. There's so many different ways you can go about doing that to try to take care of those equipments, whether it be backing up your corners a little bit, also just trying to drive it in a lot straighter into the corners. I mean, that may sound a little difficult for maybe those who are maybe new to the racing rule, but really, if you drive it in a lot straighter into the corners and then hit your apex, you'll be able to survive it.
Turn our attention to Kenneth Bueno.
Here with the number 29 of Michael Causey, the driver out of Ole Miss, University of Mississippi. Michael, first of all, we'll talk about the VR setup, but first of all, just give us your perspective behind the wheel of that last caution.
Yeah, it's just with the way this track works, everybody runs up high. It's way quicker and it's hard to complete a pass down low.
See if we can't get Michael Causey here, or Causey rather, in a little bit. There we go. All right. $1 in the jar there as I mix up Causey and Causey. Causey, of course, competing for Front Row Motorsports in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. And you see him in the Clash 1 week from tonight. For now, though, we go back to Green Flag Racing. We'll see how the strategy pays off for Jose Solis Jr. All eyes on the Yukon Husky as we go green with 38 laps to go in the Logitech G120 at Iowa.
It's going to be dangerous spot, turn 2 for the 75. Look at Daniel Budafuku in the 13, looking to the bottom. A big wash up out of turn 2. He's going to manage the inside. The 13 out of Rutgers University takes the lead for the first time, and we're 3 wide for second.
The tires are not paying off for Jose Solis Jr., and he is immediately under fire from Will Norton, from Logan Clampett, Tyler Gary, and Parker Steele, all in the mix there too, and he's just going to have to try and hang on to track position as best he can and hang on to a chance of some scholarship money. Is the man who dominated the spring semester of the eNASCAR College iRacing Series last year, Daniel Budafuku out of Rutgers University, back in a familiar spot, leading the field at Iowa Lake.
He really is putting on a great drive once again. He's up in clean air and starting to stretch out his race lead over Will Norton and Logan Clampett. Big surprise about Garrett Lowe. He's back in outside the top 10, so he's going to be struggling a little bit trying to find some clean air as we see Will Norton in that Jayhawks working as the caution comes out.
Yellow flag is out. Matthew Morton went for a ride down the back straightaway. We'll see if we can't get the replay in a few moments, but it was a heavy hit that I saw out of the corner of my eyes. He is the reason for the yellow, and I guess if you're Jose Solis Jr., you don't mind this. The problem is that you could come down pit road now if you want, but everybody else having come down only a handful of laps before, if he comes down, Kenneth Bueno, I doubt he's going to have much company. I still feel like you're probably going to lose track position anyway.
Yeah, you're going to lose track position. It's going to defeat the purpose here for the 75 of Solis, and the fact that you don't have that many laps fresher on tires, his advantage to get back up to the front of the field isn't necessarily going to be that big. You look at the replay here, was the 56 of Tate Lido out of Eastern Oregon University, just getting a little bit loose, and I think just swerved the car to the inside into Matthew Morton, and Morton, absolutely nothing he could do to avoid the contact, and the heavy contact, in fact, with the inside wall, and his car completely toast as he limps it back to pit road.
It's a big hit for Matthew Morton, though. I suspect maybe that Matthew Zwack, being a Michigan Wolverine, I suppose he won't be sad that just took place, Taylor Burris? We know there's a little bit of a rivalry between Ohio State and Michigan, perhaps, maybe.
Yeah, might have been a little smile for Slack right there as he tries to continue on with this race, as he's wanting to be definitely. And that's one of the funny things about this series. There's a lot of college rivalries in and amongst this field, like you pointed out, Ohio State and Michigan. I mean, you've got to know for a fact those drivers who finish ahead of their college rivals is definitely puts a smile on a lot of their faces.
Going to get another look at the incident and see what happened as we go on board with Douglas Newbing, and you see just how wild this gets. And yeah, another contact bounce off of the backstretch wall. It's interesting, a lot of the incidents tonight have developed off of contact on the back straight, and it hasn't necessarily been on corner exit per se either. It's been pretty solidly closer to the middle of the backstretch where people were just racing 2 and 3 wide, and they're trying to find a lane, and they end up accidentally running into the fence, and all of a sudden a second or two later, somebody spun around off to the apron, and we have a yellow flag once again.
It's been a big trouble spot. I think one that we definitely didn't expect. We were looking at the turns to be, especially the exits of turns, to be the biggest spots of trouble where drivers would wash up, get into contact with each other. But there is sort of a rise up the hill, especially out of turn 2. That car rises off the ground a little bit. You can see some of the tire spin that may happen if you're just down there. The car could easily snap loose. I think for the 56 of Lido, that slight mistake was enough to travel him down the racetrack into Morton. And then by that time he makes that contact with Morton, nothing he could do.
Worth noting, Taylor Burris. Let's go to you with Daniel Buttafuoco.
Here with Daniel Buttafuoco. Daniel, you're back into the ways of, once again, like you did in the spring of 2022, leading here the eNASCAR College Series. Your thoughts on how this race has been going for you? You had to work your way up to earn this one.
Yeah, no kidding. We really did. We're running around 4th. I was just trying to get a groove, trying to save tires, and then couldn't really see my pit sign because guys in front of me, so I couldn't really see, so I messed up a couple times to back to 11th. And then we pretty much just raced our way back up to this position. So really happy to be here representing Rutgers, and yeah, it's pretty nuts. Hopefully we can hold on. I'm feeling pretty good, so yeah.
And well, one thing we have to touch on briefly, of course, is what is it like working with the Rutgers University and their partnership with you in this series?
It's amazing. Rutgers University has done a lot to help me and support me throughout this eNASCAR venture, especially whether it be in Road to Pro or the Contender Series. It means a lot to be representing them. It means a lot to have their full support. So it's my buddy is saying go Dan, so that kind of distracted me there. But yeah, it means a lot. Hopefully we can get them the W. The fall didn't go great for us, but we're going to start off 2023 with a bang. So let's get this.
And another thing to talk about, of course, is in 2022, you tried to make your way into the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series, but of course could not make it through after the Contender Series. Are we going to see you return in the qualifying series later on this year?
Absolutely. I'm not going to quit. We were one spot out, and there were a lot of things that I did wrong, and there were a lot of things that didn't go my way. I believe I can do it, and I'm just going to work as hard as ever to try to get to the point that I'm most satisfied. So, yeah.
Well, good luck to you and Rutgers University. That is Daniel Buttafuoco, your race leader so far right now, James, and he is determined. I think he is going to be the toughest competitor to be up in the front.
Also worth noting, you can see it here on your screens, but we have gone to single file restarts in the Logitech G120 as Buttafuoco tries to warm up the tires just a little bit to get the best restart possible. All on Buttafuoco as we go back to green flag racing. 30 laps to go here in the Logitech G120, and he got a great restart over Will Norton. It's 3 or 4 car lengths. It's almost half a second. I wonder if Norton may have missed a shifter or something there, because that's a huge gap to pick up just from the start-finish line to turn 1.
I believe he just didn't react in time, and it also caught the 44 of Logan Clempett. Checked up and had a rear full of Parker Steele in the 5 car. Luckily, Clempett has been able to run away. He's going to try to attack on Norton this time, entering turn 1. You watch a battle a little further behind through the field. That's Anthony Burrows and the number 62, the 92 of Liam Sheen, inside the top 9, and Garrett Lowe looking to get back to the front.
Bit of an odd place for Garrett Lowe. You don't love where you are now because you're in traffic for really the first time all race. Also, I want to give a shout out to Liam Sheen just to his outside. You can see the purple and black car there as it fades away. As you see this car, a little bit of contact there too off of the camber from Nicholas Short's machine out of El Dorado Hills, California. But Liam Sheen started in 40th up to the 9th position easily. Going to walk away with the Hard Charger Award if he can maintain that kind of position towards the end of the race. And he's in a position for scholarship money, too.
He certainly is. The University of Wisconsin Stevens Point pointer is definitely going to be one to watch. Liam Sheen is definitely a strong competitor. I've got to point out also about Nicholas Short as well. A strong competitor, but mostly you see him compete on road course. That's 3 wide up ahead of them. But Nicholas Short, of course, a 2020 Rock Cup champion and competing in the karting world. So he's definitely going to be one to watch in this series.
That was so scary for Garrett Lowe. He almost got caught in the middle of a 3-wide sandwich with Jose Solis Jr. and Jack Coyne and nearly went around on the back straightaway. There was brief contact for a moment, but he clears Coyne, clears Solis. Now he's up to 7th. He's still got work to do to get back to the front, though.
And the question is, James, how much work is he having to put in to get around this traffic? Because if he works his car way too hard here, trying to get back up in position, how much will he have left in the tank equipment-wise? A driver in the outside wall, and that is Liam Sheen on the front straightaway. Everybody's going to be able to keep it collected, so we will stay green. But a shunt there from the 92 of Liam Sheen, a Road to Pro competitor in 2022. Elliott Sadler, eSports driver, finds trouble. Outside wall, exit turn 4.
I apologize in advance to Liam Sheen and his fans for the commentator's curse that I have inflicted upon him. Meanwhile, look at the battle for second. Taylor Burris. Will Norton has had it and managed the track position well, but we're starting to see that long run pace of Logan Clampett really come to the fore. He's been quick all night long. Here he goes underneath the Kansas Jayhawk for second.
Yeah, the Bobcat of none other than Logan Clampett will make a beautiful pass, and he's running just under a tenth faster than your top 3 right now. As he comes across the line, he was identical with Daniel Buttafuoco as they work their way through. So he is definitely on pace and starting to work his way closer and closer to your race leader.
Garrett Lowe is the first driver on 4 tires in this field. Kenneth Cueto, you talked about it. He's got the fresh rubber, but does he have the time to get back up to everybody else? And will the lap traffic that these leaders are about to encounter help him in his quest to get back to the race lead?
It's going to be tough there for the driver of the 49. He's now approaching Royal Palm Beach, Florida's Tyler Gary in the number 26, but he isn't necessarily catching him by that much. As the driver goes to the inside, that's a lap car, going to let the leaders by. And Garrett Lowe just going to work all that he can and see if he can get back to the front.
Laps are winding down here at Iowa. 22 laps to go. You see a replay of what happened with Liam Sheen. He got turned. he got turned. There's no other way to describe that one. Austin Farr from Liberty University got into him and sent him into the fence. So not even anything, I think, of Sheen's doing, just bad luck. As we go back to the line battle for the race lead, Logan Clampett now working the high line, Buttafuoco down low. 2 of the most prominent names in the eNASCAR College iRacing Series, battling for the lead, the win, and a significant amount of scholarship money as we approach the final 20 laps here at Iowa Speedway in the Logitech G120. $3,500 going to the race winner, $2,500 going to second. So this is a $1,000 battle for the race lead. We are watching Taylor Burris.
We certainly are. Not only that, but the battle of basically young guns and veterans. Logan Clampett's been on the service for almost 9 years now, picking up over 1,000 wins in oval racing. Daniel Buttafuoco, he just started coming on about a year ago. And look at these two battling it out here as they head down into turn 3. We see Clampett trying to work the inside lane. Now Buttafuoco stays to the top side, trying to see if that outside lane is better for him.
And he couldn't carry the momentum. We talked about that earlier. You just can't roll on corner exit the way you want to if you're stuck underneath someone. And now is this where we see Buttafuoco defend the lead from the high line. And if he does, and if this continues to take place for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 laps and so on, does it reel Will Norton back into the race for the lead? Does it bring Tyler Gary, Parker Steele, Garrett Lowe, any of the other drivers in the top 5 back to the fight for the front?
And you also think that Daniel Buttafuoco in the number 13, he has notes on Logan Clampett. Remember, he's been riding around, James, in the top 5 all race long, most notably behind this 44. So he's taking notes on Clampett's run up to this point. Now it's just all about holding up that defensive wall and now working the outside, going to block the air travel of the 44. Clampett's going to get close out of turn 4, but it may not just be enough. 16 laps to go this time.
I almost think if you clamp it, if you can't get to the outside of Buttafuoco, you may have to pull the slide job, but Buttafuoco left the outside lane open, and clamp it washed up. He had it. He was there. He was alongside the right rear quarter panel of Buttafuoco and just could not hang on corner exit, so he'll duck down to the bottom to try and make the pass, and again, can't carry all the momentum he needs to stay alongside Buttafuoco, and the driver out of Rutgers University hangs on to the lead yet again, but for how much longer can he keep this up, Taylor Burris?
It's going to be difficult because one thing is also Logan Clampett is really putting a lot of input in the steering input. That's going to put a lot of wear and tear on those tires as the run progresses. He can't track out enough because he has to give enough room to make sure not to make contact with Daniel Buttafuoco. So this is a good opportunity for Buttafuoco to hold on. He's able to track out enough compared to what Logan Clampett's doing.
How worn out will the right side tires be on Logan Clampett's machine? That's a valid point you bring up, Taylor, something that we may have to watch for. We may end up in a situation where Clampett has to cool off the tires just a little bit to make that final charge, but we see what he's trying now. Buttafuoco's running almost up against the wall, and Clampett is, I think, going to try and pull the slide job off and go all the way to the inside, get up in front of Buttafuoco, and take the position. You see the battle for the lead on the left-hand side of your screen, battle for 15th with Matthews Wackton Company there. You have this new bigging in the fight, Jose Solis Jr. on the right-hand side of your screen. Lots of action in the Logitech G120 as we approach 10 laps to go at Iowa.
Yeah, we've seen so much tension, James, between the drivers in the front and the drivers in the midfield. Again, Clampett trying out of turn 4, cannot find success, but keep in mind, Will Norton is catching a couple of laps by. Said almost a full tenth faster than the drivers in first and second. So keep in mind the Jayhawk might be in contention. It's just a matter of how many laps we have left in this race for him to get up there. Clampett following in the tracks on the outside. May have a three-way battle for third. Tyler Gary and Garrett Lowe in the mix for this as well.
Garrett Lowe has arrived. He's back in the top 3, continuing to try and pick away at Tyler Gary and Will Norton and get back to the fight for the front. However, that 4-tire stop has not paid the dividends that he would have hoped. Clampett still just hounding Buttafuoco left, right, and center as they dive off into turn 3 once again, and Clampett will nose ahead briefly in the middle of the corner, but he just doesn't have enough to make it stick on corner exit, and Buttafuoco continues to lead at the stripe. That's where it will matter in 10 laps. When the checkered flag falls, Norton is gaining, as is Tyler Gary, as is Garrett Lowe, but it's not by all that much. Last time by, it was maybe about a 1/10 of a second that they were gaining on Buttafuoco. They need a little bit more help, I think, some contact to slow up Clampett and Buttafuoco to really bring those two into the fight for the win.
Just by how close they're racing, James, off turn 4, they are almost making contact every single time. Great, hard, clean racing as we ride on board with none other than Logan Clampett. And now a new factor. Lap traffic is up ahead of your race leaders. This is going to get exciting.
They will catch the lap traffic within the next 9 laps. No question about it. They're close enough. The question is, where are the lap cars when these two get by? You see one of them immediately pulling off to the inside of the racetrack. Doesn't want to be a part of this. The other thing I've noticed, Kenneth Bueno, in the last few laps, Buttafuoco's changed his line in 1 and 2. He's getting as close to Logan Clampett as he possibly can. And he's also running a little bit lower here as Clampett got enough momentum. He almost came up in front of Buttafuoco and had it passed and completed, but didn't have enough. Complete concentration on the faces of both of these eNASCAR veterans as they battle wheel to wheel. 7 laps to go now at Iowa.
And luckily the lap traffic they catch is going to move to the inside by the time they exit turn 2. That's the worst spot on a racetrack. Exit of a corner to make a pass on lap traffic. Here comes Logan Clampett clawing his way, the Bobcat, through the Scarlet Knight and the 44 in front with 6 laps to go.
Beautiful work there from Logan Clampett. He changed his line and went up to the middle of the racetrack, and it got in the high lane, and that's exactly where he needs to be to complete the pass on Buttafuoco, who can't pull the crossover out of turn 2. Logan Clampett to the race lead. 6 laps to go in the Logitech G120, and an incredible fight that is borne out for third place as these first 2 drivers start to distance themselves. Tyler Gary, Parker Steele, Will Norton, Garrett Lowe all over each other right at the back end of the top 5.
Ooh, big slide right there a little further back as you see on board with the driver of Logan Clampett, but the veteran is definitely showing the rookie that he has what it takes, and he still has a lot to learn as Buttafuoco's trying to see if he can find his way to power back through.
Parker Steele hip checked Tyler Gary, and Gary was not happy about it. He came on the radio and said a little bit there to Steele. So not exactly making friends is Parker Steele between Jose Solis Jr. now Tyler Gary, but he is in fourth. He will come away with scholarship money if this holds. He walk away with $1,750 here, and the yellow flag is out with 4 laps to go, and we are likely looking at a green-white checker finish to round out this race. And if it wasn't already getting crazy at the end of the Logitech G120, Kenneth Bueno, we are about to be in for a wild finish at Iowa to finish off this first round of the 2023 eNASCAR College iRacing Series.
What's the saying, James? This changes everything. The field gonna be on an even playing field. Budafoco with one more shot to catch Logan Clampett and also bring in the number 49 Garrett Lowe. Our big 3 Titans all race long in a battle for the race win in these final 2 laps. We'll see exactly what might have happened on the front straightaway between the 72 of Jeremy Burns. It was the 24 of Christian Charbonneau that got into him. Look at the move on pit road. Your top 2 are going to stay out. Garrett Lowe, third on back, coming in.
I had a feeling we were going to see pit strategy, and I think it is going to be the drivers that stayed out who paid off big time on that. Garrett Lowe came down for tires and just did not get anyone else to come in with him. As I look at this, I think it's about the top 22 or 3 that stayed out on old tires, and you can see, why? You can read his lips. The frustration immediately apparent on his face. He is incredibly frustrated because now it's going to be a battle for him just to get back into any of the scholarship positions.
Well, not only that, James, but Garrett Lowe doesn't have any fresh tires. There's only 1, maybe 2 drivers who have fresh set of tires. You just saw him on pit road for a brief couple of seconds just to top off with fuel, maybe change his, clean off his windshield, and that's it. He didn't go up on the jacks. So this is going to be even more difficult for Garrett Lowe. The only driver who I see out there on the track who has not had enough tires is Jose Solis Jr., who had an extra set of tires.
Solis Jr. in 26. Let's go back to the beginning of that cycle of pit stops so we can show you all of the action that took place here. Here's your pit road entrance key. You see the commitment cone right there, and that late duck from Clampett, from Budafoco. Lowe comes in, and then just about everybody else outside of Tyler Gary, and I believe Anthony Burrows was the other one behind Gary. They all stayed out. And this was one of those 50-50 coin flip situations where you don't necessarily know what the right answer is, and it's very much dependent on how things go with where drivers do or don't make it. Single file restart, green white checker, old tires for everybody in the top 20. So fresh rubber not going to factor into the finish of this Logitech G120. But Logan Clampett is off and he is gone. 1 car length, 2 car length, 3 car length, call it 4 car lengths by the time he gets to turn 1. And Budafoco may need to be more worried about Parker Steele than he would be about trying to chase after the race win, KB.
That's exactly what you needed if you were that 44 of Clampett. Get a huge restart, catch the field off guard, and you have a huge buffer to that 13. The 44 will exit the final corner from Iowa Speedway. James Pike, and will take the white flag.
One last sin. Can Budafoco do anything in 1 and 2 or 3 and 4? Chandler Burris.
He's going to see what he can do, but he is nowhere near to get a good run here as they come out of turn number 4, or turn 2.
Clampett good, everybody clean out of turn 2. Budafoco with the dive, he'll stay to the inside, and Logan Clampett with a brave drive at the end to put Saddleback College in victory lane to start off the 2023 eNASCAR College iRacing Series powered by Star League. Logan Clampett out of Trabuco Canyon, California goes to victory lane at Iowa in the Logitech G120.
What an absolute drive right there. Touch on briefly about Garrett Lowe. He started outside the top 20. He was able to return to 15th position. Such a heartbreak for him as we see the top 2 celebrating, congratulating each other.
I would say that's a cap tip there from Daniel Buttafuoco in recognition of the hard battle that he had with Logan Clampett, who represents Saddleback College in victory lane in tonight's winning moment, brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official fan refreshment of eNASCAR. It was a tremendous fight before that final yellow flag that Buttafuoco and Clampett had, Kenneth Bueno, and then Clampett got the position right before the yellow came out and put down the best restart that he needed to throw down in order to go to victory lane and pick up $3,500 in scholarship money towards his tuition.
That's a huge prize to his stint in his semester at Saddleback College. And the single file restart played a hand into it. When Buttafuoco does not have an inside or outside lane, he's just directly behind Clampett. The 44 can just do whatever he wants. He can go whenever he pleases once that pace car is down. Found the right marker, got everybody sluggish on the restart, and Clampett with his first win in the eNASCAR College iRacing Series in a while. The 44 back to victory lane.
Per our notes, that's win on the service number 1168 for Logan Clampett, ahead of Daniel Buttafuoco and Parker Steele. Matthew Zwack and Will Norton completed the top 5. Jack Coyne, Nate Stewart, Nicholas Short, Tate Lytle, and Alex Kalanick rounding out the top 10.
Look at everybody 11th on back, starting with Liberty University's Austin Farn, the 79, the 23 of Anthony Troback will be behind them in 12th. Liam Sheen in the 92 machine started dead last, 40th in the field. He ends up 13th. 14th will go to Zachary DeWile, the number 02. Garrett Lowe, despite his attempts to get back to the front after pitting on the last caution, he ends up rounding out your top 15. White Harvey in the 55 is P16. Anthony Burrows will follow suit in 17th. Michael Causey for Ole Miss will be in P18. Chris Fritz will round out your top 19, and Douglas Newbigging in the 71, last driver in the top 20.
Garrett Vinton, representing, of course, the Arizona State University Sun Devils, will come home in 21st. Tough break for Daniel Folkingham in 22nd, along with Jose Salas Jr. James Scioli will be coming home in 24th, with Christian Charbonneau in 25th. Chris Treppa will be in the 26th position. Jeremy Burns in 27th, with the Oklahoma University driver Mario Miranda in 28th. Ryan Wilson in 29th, and Grand Canyon University will be Andrew Paul.
31st was Jake Cummings. Matthew Burton finished in 32nd. Tyler Gary 33rd, and Taylor Butcher Benjamin in 34th. Dustin Buck finished 35th this evening. 36th went to Matthew Morton. Dylan Hafines was 37th on the final scoring charts. 38th went to Blake Kinkinnon. Francisco Villarreal and Noel Fougere completed the 40-car field in tonight's Logitech G120 season opener for the eNASCAR College iRacing Series, powered by NASCAR League at Iowa Speedway. It is now time to talk to our winner. Let's go down to victory lane, where Logan Clampett will share all of the stories about his battle for the win.
Oh, was that a question?
Oh. Well, Logan, a fantastic job, I think, at the end there. Single file restart, green, white, checkered. You had them held off. Daniel Buttafuoco, Parker Steele, everybody you're behind. But walk us through this race entirely. It looked like you were one of the best cars all night long with Garrett Lowe, battled with him for a while, and then just had to keep on dueling throughout this entire race.
Yeah, man. That was a lot of fun at the beginning with Garrett, with that really long run. It kind of sucks that race had to kind of be caution after caution. This track car combo is a lot of fun. It is so hard to pass. I don't love pulling moves like I did on Daniel, but it was kind of like I kind of almost had to pull that slide job. I mean, it was kind of a fail slide job, but he had to check up. But that was a lot of fun. I've been wanting to win one of these, man, for Saddleback College. It's been I mean, Steven won all of them last semester, and I got second twice. And now, I mean, he didn't race this one. I'm not really sure why, but finally, got ourselves one. So that's super exciting, and I'm just I'm really pumped.
First thing that comes to mind, that battle with Steven Wilson at Auto Club Speedway, one of the races where you fell short. But this easily redemption here, $3,500 to your efforts at Saddleback College. So what does that mean for not only you, but your collegiate adventure with Saddleback?
It's definitely awesome. That Auto Club battle, I wish I feel like I've gotten a lot better in this car with tire saving since then. I've been really trying to practice it for this series, and I feel like I have gotten a lot better since Auto Club. So it's awesome to see my family and my girlfriend was watching tonight. So that's really awesome. For the college, it's just a small community college. I believe. Hopefully this will be my last semester. That's a TBD until I transfer to Cal State Fullerton. So yeah, that should be awesome. So soon enough, if they do this series again next semester, then I'll be possibly switching colleges, which is totally fine. But it's awesome to get this win for little Saddleback College.
Definitely putting Saddleback College on the map in this eNASCAR College iRacing Series powered by NASCAR League. Driver number 44 in Victory Lane, Logan, congratulations on behalf of all of us at the broadcast team, and hopefully we'll see you next time around at Dover.
Thank you, broadcast team. I'll be there.
So that is Logan Clampett in the number 44. Had to fight for this win, but definitely one that is rewarding. We'll talk to the driver who comes home in P2, the number 13 of Daniel Buttafuoco.
Here with Daniel Buttafuoco coming home in P2. Daniel, what was the one thing maybe you could have learned battling with a veteran such as Logan Clampett here tonight?
I learned a lot. It was a lot of fun racing Logan. I think what killed us, I was talking with Logan after. He filled his fuel tank to the brim where I short fueled, so I was going to be a little tighter because I thought taking 2 tires I was going to be a little freer, but it didn't really impact that much. If anything, like I was really tight. But other than that, I learned just managing the pace and just how to race side by side better. Logan gave me a lot of space, raced me really clean, raced me hard and fair. It was just a lot of fun. I hope all of you guys enjoyed watching that. Just didn't quite have enough juice there at the end to hold him off, but still had a lot of fun representing Rutgers. Unfortunately, we couldn't get the W, but a second place is really good to start off the season.
Well, of course, you're getting ready for the Monster Mile in about a month's time. What's the race or what type of racing could we expect to see there at Dover?
You're probably going to see just a lot of like running the middle and the bottom. You're not going to really see a lot of racing like what you see at Iowa. You're going to see just guys kind of like diamonding the corner. They'll enter low and then wash up high and then cut back down low. And probably a lot of tire saving because that track eats up the tires pretty good. And if you burn that right front off, you're going to have no exit turn. So it's just going to be a balancing act of when to push and when not to. But hopefully we could see more green flag racing there because that track's always a lot of fun to race on. And it's my home track because none of the other I live in Jersey, so there's no track really close by. So I count Dover as my home track. But yeah, looking forward to trying out for that one, and hopefully we can make it that one.
We look forward to seeing you there. And, of course, that is Daniel Buttafuoco from East Brunswick, New Jersey, and Rutgers University's Scarlet Knight as he tries to get a chance to win at his home track in a month's time, as we're now going to see if we have Parker Steele joining us.
Oh, hello. How's it going?
We do have Parker Steele here in the broadcast booth. The
How's
driver
it going?
who comes home in P3. And Parker, I could easily tell once we got to the second half of this race from Iowa, you immediately turned on the jets in this University of Arizona number 5 machine. It felt like all of the things you had built up in the first half easily worked well in the second. Just give us your perspective of that final stint and your run for this podium this evening.
Oh, yeah, it went pretty good. I had my friend Bradley Erickson telling me what to do and just, drive everyone super clean, and it all came out, worked out.
And I know those final restarts, especially that last caution, caught a lot of the field off guard. Did you feel like you had anything for Buttafuoco and Clampett there at the end?
No, I definitely didn't. I was just lucky that I got put in that position. There was an incident in front of me, and I just kind of fell there, to be honest.
Well, nonetheless, a strong run, third place at the end of tonight's race from Iowa. $2,000 to your efforts at the University of Arizona. Sure, that's definitely going to mean a lot, Parker. Congratulations on the P3 finish. Thanks as always for taking some time to talk with us. Hopefully we'll see you at Dover in about a month's time.
Thank you. And I want to thank Austin Farr and Henry Morse.
Well, that is Parker Steele, the driver of the number 5. James Pike ends up inside your top 3.
Yes, yes. Lots of accolades and lots of strong drives. The Logitech G120. We now turn our attention to race number 2 in the spring semester. We head to Dover Motor Speedway, February 21st at 9 p.m. Eastern. That is race number 2 of 4 on the spring semester calendar for the eNASCAR College iRacing Series powered by NASCAR League. We will see how these drivers tackle the Monster Mile and if Daniel Buttafuoco can go to victory lane in what he claims to be his home track. He is right. Pocono is also in the vicinity too, but this is a popular one for a lot of folks in the Mid-Atlantic to go take a visit to it, and a fun place with a lot of history. Kenneth Bueno, Dover usually is a lock to put on a good show.
Yeah, it is a track that definitely puts on a good show, and we saw a lot of different challenges presented here tonight from Iowa. It's going to be an entirely different set of challenges once we get to the Monster Mile, a track that definitely doesn't have as many lanes to choose from, but it is still as brash, still as abrasive as ever, so we're going to see how the drivers can utilize this concrete track to their best knowledge and to their advantage to try and get some of that scholarship money in about a month.
And narrower, Taylor Burris.
Yes.
We can't forget about how tight this track is on the backstretch.
It really is. It's going to be definitely a time where you have to worry about Miles the Monster, as he will definitely eat you up and spit you out quickly.
Indeed. It is time to say good evening from Iowa. So, for my partners in the booth, Kenneth Bueno and Taylor Burris, and for our wonderful team behind the scenes producing tonight's event at iRacing, I am James Pike. Thank you so much for watching iRacing's coverage of the eNASCAR College iRacing Series powered by NASCAR League, the Logitech G120 from Iowa Speedway, and we will see you on February 21st for race number 2 of the season from the virtual Dover Motor Speedway.